Today's Cosplay Con Talk episode is sponsored by Moco Queen Color Contacts. Don't forget to use my code Wayne for 10% off at checkout at mocoqueen.com. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. How's it going, everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome back to another episode of Cosplay Con Talk, where we basically discuss everything pertaining to the cosplay community and conventions. Tonight, I will not be hosting the podcast panel segment, whatever you want to. Oh, that's my one effort for tonight. I am going to be giving the reins to Cat Valentine Cat Cosplay. Also, we're joined here by Minty, but yes, Cat will be hosting the panel tonight. Cat, what are we going to be doing tonight for tonight's podcast panel?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. All right. So we had this idea a while back and we thought it might be fun to just run with it. So we are going to be doing readings um from the Am I the Asshole subreddit, but we're specifically picking ones that are cosplay and convention related because when you go onto these things, you're getting kind of opinions from everywhere, right? But we thought it might be fun to get things specifically from people who are in the community and kind of get everyone's take on things because it's fun and it's silly and it's stupid, so we might as well just have a good time with it, or maybe give like some actual genuine good advice. I don't know. Let's just see where things take us. Alrighty. So, God damn it, what was I gonna say?
That's why nothing's scripted. That's why there's no scripts for this channel.
Exactly, exactly. All right. So I would assume that most people who have been listening and are watching for a while already know Wayne and me and Minty, but do you guys want to reintroduce yourselves real quick?
I mean, people know who I am. Minty,
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. I'm still unknown, apparently, according to some people,
Apparently.
but yeah, Minty, you haven't been on here a while. Like Kat said, want to reintroduce yourself?
I haven't. Yeah, so my name is Minty Poison. I go by Minty Poison Cosplay. I'm taking a little bit of a gap year this year. Kind of wore myself out with COVID and everything.
Boo.
But I know. Um, but I do all kinds of cosplay, most competition-based stuff. I am always open for questions as well. If anybody has any questions on competing or builds or embellishment, anything like that.
Yes, Minty is so talented, you guys. Go look at her stuff right now.
No, no, no.
And
Steve. All right. Hi, I am Kat. I have been cosplaying for a hot minute. 2012, if I'm remembering correctly. I like to dabble in a little bit of everything. I'd say I kind of specialize in sewing and makeup. Um, but yeah, I just like making my silly little costumes and hanging out with my pals and making cool stuff. Yeah. Oh,
Really pretty and amazing things.
also known
no,
as
you.
also if you're familiar with her, every time she's on here, she likes to draw more than one F-bomb, and I have to correct her for that.
I would never.
I got video
I
proof of you
would.
cussing more than
I
anyone else on here.
No, no, children,
listen.
no, no.
Listen. I am a woman of Christ. I would never in my life
Yeah, and I'm a saint.
say the dreaded F bomb because Jesus would be mad at me. I can't
Not
keep
the
it up.
F
Oh
word.
boy. Anyway,
All right. Is everybody ready?
I am ready
Let's
to.
go.
I'm ready to hear
Yeah.
some of these because, like, yeah, if the cosplay community wasn't weird enough.
I mean, you're not wrong. Oh my gosh. So let's start off with our first story. Oh my God. Okay, so it's one of those things where it's not funny, but it kind of is. When I saw this, I cackled. I'm not gonna lie. I feel a little bad for it, but it's funny. All right, here we are. Am I the asshole for going to my grandma's funeral in a Scaramouche cosplay?
Yes, next question. No.
Wrap it up.
For those who aren't familiar, Scaramouche is a character from the world-renowned game Genshin Impact.
Yes. All right. I, 15 non-binary, recently had to deal with the passing of my grandma, 80 female. It was obviously heartbreaking, as any major loss in a family would be. I am autistic and I use my special interests to cope with difficult times. One of the biggest ones is a character named Scaramouche from Genshin Impact. He has been my biggest coping tool, especially since he also experiences loss in his family. So thinking about him and indulging myself in stuff relating to him helps me. Last week was my grandma's funeral. I have a Scaramouche cosplay and I wouldn't see myself being able to deal with the funeral in any clothes other than my comfort clothes, aka my cosplay. So I went in costume for my own sanity. I'm sorry. It's
Oh.
not funny, but I can't help it. I'm sorry. Okay. That ended up with a lot of dirty looks from family. And after the funeral, my grandfather called me angrily and accused me of not taking the passing of my grandmother seriously, and that I disrespected her and the ceremony for showing up in such a flamboyant costume. I explained to him that I wouldn't have been able to handle the funeral wearing anything else because of my issues. But he said that that was bullshit and that I should just make the excuses. I really don't know if I was the asshole or not. My dad refuses to say anything about the situation, so I decided to come here. Reddit, am I the asshole? Also, ETA, since people aren't understanding my autism, I am diagnosed as level 3 or severely autistic. A lot of people in the comments don't seem to understand.
Honey.
Oh Lord,
I
so
mean, as someone
what
who
are we thinking, guys?
as
Is
someone as
uh,
someone as someone who is autistic, we do have ways of coping. And I mean, I get
hmm,
it. They're 15, they're still a teenager, and I know when
Mhm.
you're that young and you're autistic and you're also, I know it has nothing to do with them being non-binary, but I get it. You're young, you're 15, you don't know how to cope with someone who's lost a relative roughly around that age.
hmm,
Well, no, in 2012 I lost my grandpa too, but
hmm,
I I don't know if this is real because I know Reddit and everything, but if this is real, I
for
feel
sure.
bad. I feel bad for him. Like I get it. You have to find ways of coping you know, when someone dies, but to go as someone at a funeral from a video game that probably no one understands, I
Mhm.
feel like it's also drawn away from the funeral itself.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like,
There's
can you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm actually going through some of the comments here, and one of them is you're the asshole. Your grandmother dying isn't only your loss, it's also a loss for her
Mhm.
children, for her siblings, for her husband. Um, like I get it.
Period.
Everybody has their own coping mechanisms, and that's totally fine. I have my own too.
Mhm.
Not all of them are healthy. That's gonna happen, but um this this ain't it, chief. There is such a thing as knowing, like, that's one of those things of, as a also neurospicy person, like some social situations can be really difficult for me even if I'm not specifically autistic, but like, and I get it. Like Wayne said, the kid's young. I totally understand that. I understand needing those coping mechanisms because it is a very hard loss.
For
And
sure.
it really does suck for them. But even if you're just like masking for a day, like this isn't just a one person loss. This is an entire family loss.
Exactly. No, I agree 100%. Like as someone who is also neurospicy, I can sympathize with using media to cope. Like
Mhm.
when my grandpa died, I got really, really into like the Beetlejuice musical. And that's very much a story about dealing with death and loss and being able to move on from that. And for me, that was very, very helpful. And to me, it still is something that's so powerful to this day. However, I would not show up to my grandpa's funeral in a Lydia cosplay because that's just highly, highly inappropriate.
Yeah.
I just want to know, they're 15. They're definitely living with their parents or someone
Oh, absolutely. A legal
like
Mhm.
guardian.
why didn't their parents say, "Hey, I get you want to
Yeah,
cosplay and I get you want to wear this, but this is our, relatives this is your grandma's funeral. I think you should like wear, you know, clothes you would wear to a funeral,
for sure.
not some
Mhm.
elaborate like I just want to know, where were the parents when this was going on? Because you're 15, you're
Yeah,
still a teenager. Like you have to
exactly.
like I when I I don't know. This is a
Yeah,
like you
it's
don't. But I get
Same.
it. Don't use your autism as an excuse
mhm,
because you have a way of coping with things. There are other ways to
Mhm.
cope, and cosplaying at a funeral is not one of them because there are people at that funeral who will think that you're taking away from a very sad, meaningful moment.
exactly. And unless the person holding the funeral was like, hey, can you cosplay this to my funeral? Like, you
Yeah,
just really shouldn't do it. It's
don't do it.
just highly, highly inappropriate. And I can sympathize with them having a comfort character, with them needing to find ways to cope. However, if it's one of those things where they're like, "Oh my gosh, I just can't do this without this cosplay," wear something color coordinated to the character. Wear
Yes.
pieces of it under proper funeral attire. And like, if you are on the spectrum or if you're just neurospicy, or even if you're not, and you don't know if something's appropriate, it doesn't hurt to ask your
Oh
family
yeah.
and be like, hey, is this okay for me to wear? But you have to be prepared for the answer, even if it's something that you don't want to hear. And
Mhm.
I get they're young. I get that this is a really, really hard loss, but like this there's a lot of ways to cope, and I would say that this is going into unhealthy territory, especially since it is severely affecting other people. And
Mhm.
honestly, I feel so bad for the grandpa. Like, can you imagine losing your wife, being just, I'm going to assume he's devastated, and you
Mm,
go to the funeral and your grandchild shows up in a really flamboyant outfit and you have no idea what is going on.
mm.
Like, can you just imagine how hard that's gotta be? Oh my
Yeah, I
god.
feel I feel for the grandpa, like I mean, I if I if I was ever like that and I had grandkids and I see like I would be like, I would understand, but at the same time I'd be like, just save that for save that because save that for TikTok, save that for
Mhm.
cons, save that for home. But when it comes to a funeral, please be respectful of others. You got to think, how others will look at that.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
it's like I said, I get that they're neurospicy and that
Mhm.
sometimes social situations can be really difficult to manage. But there doesn't seem like there was any compromise going on between
Exactly. And
the
reading through
the
the
child and
comments,
the
they're
parent
doubling
or the
down.
family.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I saw the comments, and what we're saying is what the comments are saying. You could have found something else
Yes.
to wear. You could have done this. Don't use this as an excuse. You got to be
Hmm.
mindful. You should have like, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is our verdict, guys?
I hate to say this, and for anyone who's listening, don't at me. I think you're the asshole, honestly.
I'm adding you, Wayne. You're canceled.
No.
I'll take that bullet as well.
Yeah.
Definitely you're the asshole. I think that it can be like kind of like I don't want to say it's really like a soft you're the asshole because like I said
Mhm.
I do kind of get where they're coming from.
For sure.
But like time and place.
No,
That's
definitely.
Oh
even
yeah.
even as somebody with poor situational awareness
Mhm.
or being neurospicy, that is something that you're going to have to learn to navigate. I'm glad it happened while they were a minor and not while they're an adult, where it
Exactly.
has larger ramifications, but at this point you're the asshole, take it and grow from here.
Definitely
I
learn from your
agree.
mistakes.
100%. I guess I have a little less sympathy um for the situation, just as someone who's dealt with a lot of loss in my life and have also dealt with like family members making people's deaths about themselves. So
Yeah,
admittedly, I'm just like, oh, this really rustles my jimmies. But I'd say it's a hard dirty asshole. I understand their circumstances and I can sympathize with that,
Mhm.
but it's not appropriate behavior. And, as you said, Minty, it's good that they're learning this young and hopefully they grow from it. Like I'm really, really hoping they do. And on the off chance that they hear this, I like just know we're not attacking you
No, we're not.
personally. Like
We're
we
just like from people who can relate. We're
mhm,
completely understanding.
exactly. We understand, but also do better.
Oh, please do. Can I read this next one, Kat?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. But yes, all I think is, and I'm gonna probably like when editing this, put like,
Uh,
a counter thing saying, or how many times we say you are the asshole compared to you are not the asshole. And we'll find
yes, I
out
love
and
that.
then we'll find out how much of an asshole we all are.
Maybe we were the assholes all along.
God.
The assholes were inside us all along.
All right, so this was posted this Reddit post was posted 3 months ago, so fairly recently. Am I the asshole for hating my partner's cosplays?
Ooh.
This only has one upvote and two comments. All
Oh
right, so
God.
I will begin.
Uh-oh.
Hello. I'm currently at a convention right now, trying to cheer on my significant other. Now, my partner is non-binary, and let's call them Junbi. And things will be changed about the cosplays at this contest and my partner as they too also use Reddit. Oh boy.
Ooh.
So I've been with my partner for 2 years now, and we've known each other for 5 years. Aw.
Oh, that's really cute.
I always knew they were a cosplayer, so it's not like I hate that they do it.
Okay, okay. We love to see the support.
I just hate how they gotta look at this closer. I'm getting old here. I just hate how they do it and then complain about it afterwards.
Oh, they're one of those.
Okay, let's see. They do budget cosplaying, and no, we aren't in college. They work as an IT tech person. Ah, that's a lot of money
Hmm.
for a company, and I'm a history teacher. Jeez. So yeah, you both make a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
God damn. They do budget
I want to see what
cosplay.
their taxes look like.
They do budget cosplaying to show that not all cosplays have to cost hundreds of dollars, and that there's always a cheap option,
Slay.
Valid.
Slay.
which was we've discussed on here,
Hmm.
budget cosplay is friendly cosplay. You don't
Exactly.
have to fork out hundreds of thousands of dollars to cosplay as Iron Man or, um freaking uh a Gundam from original Gundam.
Hmm.
Because
Like it's gonna cost something, but there are ways to do it on a budget.
Mhm.
Now I will say they are a bit cheap IRL, but that's because their family grew up a bit poor, so money was always tight.
Hmm.
Understandable.
For sure.
And I'm not upset that and I'm not upset that they do it cheap. I'm just upset at the expectations they set. Oh boy. So since I've known them, they always enter cosplay contests and put themselves in either intermediate or the rare occasions but okay, the way they wrote this, I'm just gonna read it as they put
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah,
they put
no, if you simplify it, go ahead.
or on the rare occasions and the budget and the budget of the cosplay beginners. I will say their cosplays always budget between $50 and $90, and sometimes the budget is cheaper than that.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
but I digress. So today, Junbi decided to do a humanoid Umbreon. Nice Pokemon. We have some Pokemon fans here.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. They did paper mache for the tail and ears, but no support. And
Ooh.
the weird paper warping is very obvious and lumpy.
Oh God.
Paper mache does not hold up well.
Oh.
Mm-mm. There are ways to make it look good, but from what this user is describing, it doesn't sound like it's structurally sound.
So have some support beams or something in the tail, or
Hmm.
they didn't do anything out paint they didn't do anything out paint their body gray and draw the yellow circles on them, and then just went to Goodwill and bought an all black outfit and altered the clothes ever so slightly. Then the competition goes, and Junbi goes into the intermediate category. They do their small part, and when it gets to the
Oh
end, they
boy.
choose someone for the intermediate category for that from Junbi's side. Paid for a dress and an umbrella, but only styled their hair. When I hand my stuff completely, okay. Junbi side paid for her dress and umbrella, but only styled their hair. When I made my
But
okay, okay, I see it.
I'm gonna save my comments till after you're done because I have words.
I can see that basically Junbi's mad that they made all their stuff with this uh cosplayer paid for their dress and only styled the wig. Okay. When I hand when I handmade my stuff completely, um my stuff. The character they were talking about was Susan from Hasbin Hotel.
Susan.
Yeah, Susan, the honorable
Susan.
Susan. Jumi then proceeded to complain and be upset the judges who were professional and paired to appear cosplayers. Oh man, this way this is pronounced, I regret. I'm having a stroke. Chose one that was nicer and more expensive, and they don't care for the ones who handmade all them. This
I'm
has been
sorry. I
uh
shouldn't laugh.
this has been
This guy
like
is the asshole for not being able to type anything.
Exactly.
yeah, give
I'm
me a
sorry.
fucking
Moving
stroke. Give me
on.
a give me a goddamn stroke here. This has been like this since I've met Junbi and only got worse as I've dated them.
Oh
Now, I'm
no.
not saying I don't love them. I just hate how they get upset at these expectations they have that their below $100 cosplays will be the best of the best compared to other people who go all out and make their most expensive cosplays to win judges over. Junbi's words. I'm
Oh
basically
god.
saying how she thinks it's not fair that, this and that, and oh God, Cat knows which one I'm
Uh-huh.
reading. So I just want to know
Ooh.
if I'm in the wrong, and if this is, uh, because there goes my second F bomb. I have to bleed that out. So I just want to know if I'm in the wrong about this, and if I'm not, how can I talk to them and help them better understand that their expectations they have are too high, and that they will only get crushed more and more with these expectations. Thank you all for your advice. Anything can help with okay, so let's see. I'm looking at the comments.
Oh
Not the
boy.
asshole. Uh tell them to learn how to sew and they can make cheaper costumes. That way also reuse things they already have like old clothes they don't use, etc.
So get good.
Yeah, get good.
Pretty
No,
much.
seriously. No,
Uh
especially if you're gonna no, this ooh. Did you
and
pick this one for me, Kat?
here here
Hey, a
here
little
here
bit,
here
yeah. I
here
was like,
here
Mitch will like
here's
this one.
here's the second comment. This isn't really a problem though. You aren't there to third party judge your partner's leisure decisions. Come next year, you can suggest only entering at the cheaper level so that oh, okay. All right. So they entered intermediate instead of like the cheaper cosplay competition category. And they felt like,
Gotcha.
their cosplay was all this and that and they had so high expectations. Okay. For right now, you say, "Oh, that sucks, dude. It's all okay." So, for right now, say, "Oh, that sucks, dude. It's all rigged.
Oh
We
god.
so hate
No, don't
her
say that.
and
No, 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 no.
like so. Why are you looking to ruin the rest of their convention? What the I'm
Oh my
confused.
god.
God damn,
Okay,
that
the
gave
person
me
who
a
wrote that comment is the asshole.
God. That reading that gave me a stroke.
Honestly though, some of these are hard to read because I tried to do a practice run before this and like I was
I'm sorry for
I
anyone
thought
who
it was gonna
reads
happen
that.
too.
I will say you are the asshole for typing that out the way you do. I
Yeah,
don't like
the
it.
way that you type.
Real.
Not the asshole for the
But
story though.
not the asshole for the story. It sounds like your partner just has these high expectations of how cosplay. So, Minty
It sounds
Cat,
like the
what?
partner has way too high expectations of herself and their or excuse
Absolutely.
me, their self. And they're going in it to win with the expectation that they're going to win, that they are the best, which is, you should have confidence in your work. I'm not saying that they can't have confidence in their work.
Absolutely.
You absolutely should have confidence in your work, especially if you're going to take it on stage.
Mhm.
But thinking that, well, I'm the best because I made something and everybody else sucks and it's the judge's fault is unacceptable.
Hey,
Because you don't see, as a contestant, you don't get to see every entry the way that the judges do. You might be able to talk to people backstage. You might be able to get a little bit up close and personal. You might know some people backstage and be able to go in and be like, hey, can I like go through and flip your seams and do whatever and talk shop with them? But you're not going to get that same in-depth conversation that each contestant has with the judges. The judges are there for a reason. You might not agree with them, and that's totally valid to not agree with them. It's valid to be upset when you lose a competition. It is not valid to shit on the other contestants. It is not valid to talk smack about the judges. It is not
exactly.
valid to say, oh, honey, it's all rigged. Absolutely not. Ooh, Pat, seriously,
Like,
did you pick this one for me? Because I'm getting heated.
right? Because you can tell some of these people in the comments. I know they mean well, but they clearly don't seem to understand how most cosplay competitions operate. And that's not a slight at the people in the comments, just because they don't know.
Yeah,
But that's why
it's
we're
a
here to
weird
educate
world.
them.
It's a weird world.
It's a very
Um,
weird world.
and that is why I like to educate people on it. Because
Exactly.
there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of like side etiquette. There's a lot of different situations that you have to be aware of as you're going into, because like the etiquette in the judges room is going to be totally different from backstage, is going to be totally different from when you're lining up to go on stage. Um, and it's just a totally different environment in general. It's not like standard hall cosplay.
Mhm.
Not that there's anything wrong with standard hall cosplay, not that there's
For
anything
sure.
wrong with going on stage, but it's just it's two different worlds. And there's it's a Venn diagram and they definitely overlap, but there's a
Yes.
lot of hangover between hall
Mhm.
and competition cosplay. And this person is obviously not ready for competition.
I've
Absolutely. Like
Either
uh,
if
skill
you
wise or attitude wise, they are not ready for competition.
it sounds like a little bit of both, and that's not meant to be mean. I promise you it's not.
No.
But from what I am reading, so not every cosplay competition, but a lot of them do require, especially at the intermediate category, to have at
Oh
least
God,
50,
yes.
60% like handmade, like actually handmade. Now they're not going to be mad if you like didn't cobble your own shoes or anything like that. Like that's not a problem.
Sounds like
From
for
what I'm
masters and above.
yeah,
That's for
absolutely.
like world class stuff.
Exactly.
World Cosplay Summit stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, that's definitely Summit stuff. But from what I read, um, it looks like they bought a lot of stuff and altered it, which you can absolutely do for a competition.
Mhm.
I would not go in expecting to win because the judges can only judge based on how you altered things. Because the
Yeah.
rest was, I'm going to assume, mass manufactured. And
Yeah.
they're over here going, well, I handmade everything and I deserve to win, blah, blah, blah. Girl, boy, person, entity.
This also
No,
sounds
My
you
like
did
brethren
not.
in Christ.
this also sounds like this was their first competition, and we'd have a podcast talking
Yes.
about winning and losing your
It
first cosplay contest on here too.
so
Yeah.
looking at the post, it looks like they have entered at other competitions before at a lower level.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, um, of the cosplay.
It was
Yeah,
So
so since I've
interesting.
known them, they always enter in cosplay contests and put
Okay.
themselves either intermediate or on the rare occasion and the budget of the cosplay beginner.
Yeah.
My God,
uh,
dude.
Well,
But like
and
that,
see you see how freaking hard it was to read
good
that crap.
Lord.
yeah, see, and
Um,
the thing that I think people aren't getting, and I think OP might be confused too, and that's fine because they're not like, I guess, as immersed in this
mhm.
culture, in this
It
world.
it seems like they casually just
Judges,
go to
they
cons.
they don't give a shit about your budget. They care
Nope.
about how well you executed it. And
They don't
so
give a
I'm
shit
gonna
about your time.
assume
They don't
Yes.
give a shit about how much money you put in. They don't care how many sleepless nights you had. They are looking for the overall execution. If it's clean, does it, does it sit correctly? Does it look like your reference
Exactly.
photo? Is it fit to your body
Oh
Mhm.
from your
no.
reference photo?
Yeah.
From someone who's judged a kids and teen category, mainly teens category, those like kids are one thing, but teens and adults, they're
Mhm.
different. Teens are just slowly getting into making,
Mhm.
if not making,
Exactly.
altering their own cosplays,
Mhm.
and like oh my God, it was me and the two other judges. We had a really hard time with the teen category picking a
For
winner
sure.
because oh my God, were these cosplays like you made that? How much do you alter that?
Yeah, the
What
kids
is that
did
on
Yeah.
you?
good.
Like holy crap.
Proud of them.
We were
Yeah.
like spending like at least what felt like 10 minutes trying to decide on the
For
teen
sure. For
category.
sure.
And I've
Well,
never judged a cosplay contest before, so even I was like, what do we
yeah,
do?
yeah.
I mean, I can't really say
Yeah,
that because you
no,
guys have more experience than I do with contests and judging.
yeah. And it's judging is a lot of fun, but it's also really, really hard. And I think it's so easy to just go, "Oh, well, the judges are biased, or they're this, or they're that." And 9 times out of 10, you don't know the full situation. I'm
Yep.
not going to say that there's never been bias by any judge ever, because that's
Mhm.
just not the truth. But honestly, it just doesn't happen that often. And I find that people who have that mindset, they aren't ready to compete. If
Mm-mm.
you are
Yes.
not prepared to lose, you are not prepared to compete. If you cannot have good sportsmanship, you should not be competing.
No, I
No,
agree.
Period.
100%.
Um,
But also like saying, oh, the judges are all biased. Yes, everyone is biased. The point of
Mhm.
being a judge is working your way through that and being able to say, okay, like the skills were obviously more present in person A than person B, and going through that a list like that. But yes, everyone is biased. Fun fact, that's why I love judges awards the most, is because somebody loved
Exactly.
my stuff so much
and
and
plus
they were
those
like, okay,
Mhm.
I can see you're almost there, but I love you
Yes.
in particular.
Yes.
and
You're
those
special.
and before we give a final verdict, I will say because I know Minty and I believe Kat, you both have
Mhm.
been you've judged before, Kat, right?
Yeah, yeah. Minty and I actually judged together at
So
Chibi Chibi Con.
so you both know what it's like being that competitor because you've been in their shoes before.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been
Um,
a hot minute since I've competed, but I'm getting back into it and I'm excited.
someone like me who mainly like will buy random stuff and then alter it, I would enter in like beginner.
For sure.
Just like,
Mhm.
hey, look at me, I'm cosplaying Gold Roger. Here's
Yeah.
the line from here's the show. So for that one, you're not the asshole. You and your partner, I don't know if you were still together. That was 3 months ago. If you are, I hope that they learned something from that.
Hmm.
I will say,
Yes.
yeah, the competition world can be brutal. So
Yes.
hopefully that but going further on, your partner will see more cosplay competitions, and if they decide to enter, that they should enter in something that's not intermediate, but maybe more something their skill level before they decide. And I'm also hopefully your partner, will want to get into making their cosplay so that eventually they have,
Absolutely.
they have that
Mhm.
skill under their belt to enter those other categories. So you're not the asshole, and I hope your partner has learned from this experience.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna say not the asshole as well. OP would be, if he didn't talk to his partner about this,
For sure.
and kind of help temper their expectations.
You are a butt
Um,
munch, Fro, for writing all that, for making me read it.
I like I said, I do think that they would be the asshole if they didn't like help to temper those expectations. Um,
Absolutely.
but in this case in particular, this dude did nothing wrong. Like he's
No.
just
Yeah.
He
worried
was
about his partner.
I will say he was there for their partner, so I will give him
Yeah.
props for that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And like honestly, it's so hard when your partner is in the wrong and you have to call them out on being in the wrong. It sucks. But honestly, it is necessary to grow as a person. And from what I can tell, of course, we weren't there,
Mm-mm.
it doesn't sound like they went out of their way to be a total dick about it. They were just like, "Hey, man, these seem to be the circumstances. Like maybe we just gotta work on doing things better." And their partner didn't react well,
Be good
and that is
people.
not OP's fault. So I would say OP is not the asshole. However, their partner is definitely the asshole. Get good.
Yeah.
Just be better and more mature.
Yes.
Next one. Who wants yeah. The one this one I saw, I don't want to read this because this makes me just gives me the ick.
I I don't mind taking this on, like unless you want to read this, Minty, or do you want me to take care of it?
Go ahead. I have issues reading out loud.
Nah, nah, you're good. Okay, so quick trigger warning. This does talk about sexual assault and portraying characters
I will
that
put I will
commit
put I
sexual
will
assault. Yes.
I will put trigger warning on this.
Okay. Okay, sweet. However, as far as I'm aware, no one is actually being assaulted. Just want to get that out there. No one's actually being assaulted, but this topic does come up. If this is something you're really, really sensitive to, feel free to fast forward, feel free to click away. Your mental health matters. Alrighty, here we go. You've had your warning. All
Mhm.
right. Am I the asshole for not wanting my boyfriend to cosplay a fictional rapist at a Comic Con? I, 22, male, attended a few Comic Cons while cosplaying as different fictional characters. I invited my boyfriend, 23, male, to accompany me at the next Comic Con. He had never been to one before, in which he agreed to come. But he also asked me if he'd need to cosplay. I told him that cosplaying was optional, but he said that he still wants to cosplay as his favorite BL anime slash game character. BL means gay romance. A couple days ago, he showed me his costume for the future Comic Con trip. I got intrigued by this character. My boyfriend only told me who he is after trying on the cosplay costume as he wanted to keep it a surprise until then. And I
Mhm.
only looked him up and was pretty shocked to find out that he, the character, just to clarify, it doesn't say that in the post, but I'm just clarifying this. Not the boyfriend. That he is a rapist who sexually assaulted the protagonist of the game multiple times before they got together. I asked my boyfriend why he would want to cosplay as a fictional rapist, and he told me that he liked his story and route in the game and that he's more complex than he looks at first glance. Still, he's canonically a rapist, and I told my boyfriend that I am not comfortable accompanying him at Comic Con if he's going to keep his cosplay costume, especially if some people uh, were to recognize his character from the game and start harassing us over it, as his character seems to be very controversial even in its own fandom. My boyfriend got furious at me and told me I have no right to shame him for liking problematic fictional characters when literally everyone, including myself, has problematic favorites. Even though I personally never liked a fictional. Oh, and then it cuts off. Okay, we're left on a cliffhanger.
Oh, I
All
Um,
actually have the
right.
last
and
bit
we
right
ended.
here.
What are
Oh,
we what are we thinking, guys?
they ended up canceling their trip.
Oh, they
Uh,
did.
yeah, and the boyfriend is still treating me coldly to this day.
Ooh. Oh, okay. I don't know why that got cut off for
Yeah,
me.
see, yeah, it says
Reading through some of the comments just to give people more context, it looks like the character is Mink from Dramatical Murder.
Mhm.
hmm,
And things seem to be pretty mixed. Oh man.
ooh,
What do
I
you guys think?
one comment's removed. There were one comment said there were couples that cosplayed as Joel and Ellie when The Last of Us came out. That was kind of gross too.
Blech.
I think people like the fact that it's a two for one idea, but honestly, they need to do more research sometimes.
Mhm.
Yes, I will say you're not the asshole. I get it. You're uncomfortable for wanting like, and plus they're both young. They're in their early 20s.
Yes.
So, you're no longer a teenager. You're no longer that, you're no longer
You're a young adult.
a young adult. Yeah, you're a young adult. And I get it. Everyone has that one character like, why the hell do you like them?
For
But
sure.
like, oh, I like their story. It's like, you're young. I'm sorry, but you are young compared
Yeah,
to me.
Mhm.
that's I can definitely understand why OP's uncomfortable with that.
Absolutely.
I think somebody in the comments said it best of people cosplay Gaston not because they think he's a great guy, but because they think he's a great villain.
Yes.
People who do that are not great villains. Um, People who assault other people like that in that
Mhm.
way, and especially if from what I'm reading, so I know next to nothing about dramatical murder, so take
Neither do
everything that
I.
I say with a
I've
grain
seen
of
people
salt.
I've seen people cosplay like some of the main characters.
Yeah.
I I would say I am adjacent because I had a lot of friends who were into the fandom. So I know a little bit. And
Yes.
Mink definitely isn't a good guy. Um,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, in a lot of PL, there's a lot of really rapey stuff, and that just rubs me the wrong way. And that's
That
honestly
seems like
why I've had to stop reading a lot of like BL,
hmm
just because
and it
it
seems like a
the rapey
genre
stuff gives me
thing.
the ick. Yeah.
Um, which yeah, it definitely does give me the ick, but like
Mhm.
I don't like villains because I like villains because especially like let's say taking the Gaston thing of like those 80s
Yes.
and 90s Disney villains, they had a lot of depth to them.
Exactly.
Like Frollo's a disgusting human being. He's a
Oh,
great
absolutely.
villain.
But he's a
Mm.
great villain.
If you know,
And
I
he
you
gets his
know.
love his
comeuppance in the end.
character.
That's the whole thing is like he gets his the karma comes back around and bites him in the
Hmm.
ass.
Hmm.
Which is why we like villains like that. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, this is maybe he dreams about assaulting somebody. Maybe he kind of does assault Esmeralda in the movie.
Yeah.
But
He
like
he has this whole fantasy sequence about it.
and it's one of the best songs ever, and it's one of my favorite Disney song, like my favorite
Yes.
Disney villain song because it's so good.
Yes.
But the whole point of a villain is that they do something bad through the move or through a story, through a movie, through a
Hmm.
game, through whatever, and they end up getting their retribution at the end. Like they get
Yes.
punished at the end. In the case of Frollo, he's a little freak. He ends up burning like a little freak at the end.
Oh yeah,
Spoilers for like a 30-year-old movie.
all because of a gargoyle scared the shit out of him.
Yeah. See if
But
bro,
yeah, it's
if he just subscribed to Ye Old OnlyFans, then he'd be fine, and he can just like
he could get the
goon in
foot
his
thing
little
out of the
corner,
way,
you know,
I
and he can
but
leave
no,
her alone.
so going back, what I was saying was, from what it sounds like Mink is a romanceable option in this.
Mhm.
Um,
That's correct.
oh yeah, no, I'm really not okay with that either.
Yeah.
Mm.
I totally get where OP is coming from. I take assault like that very seriously, fictional or otherwise. And again, the whole point of a good villain, is they do all this gross, freaky stuff leading up to their demise. That's the whole point of a villain arc. And if
Hmm.
you're just
Like Clayton and Tarzan.
yeah,
Yes.
like I said, or Frollo, or like they said, like
Hmm.
the commentatas with Gaston, they don't people don't cosplay these villains because they like the villain. They're cosplaying these villains because they like the storyline of the villain, and they're written extremely well. And
Hmm.
again, it's one thing if it's like, okay, yeah, they assaulted somebody and then they like I don't know, got
Right.
arrested or something. Like their story comes full circle. Instead, they just get the protagonist on a silver platter. That's not okay by me. No, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no,
No,
no.
I am one. I will say this, and like I get you want to surprise your partner and everything,
Hmm.
but do your
Hey,
re
don't
do
surprise them with this.
Yeah. No.
don't like do your research before like, oh, they're this. Maybe I shouldn't. Like they probably I feel like they read like a little clip. But no, you're not the asshole. I don't know if you and your partner are still together, depending on how long that Reddit post was. Um, not the asshole, and your partner should definitely it, if they ever decide to go to a con again,
Hmm.
please do your research. Do your extensive research. And
Yes.
if you
Yes.
know people who are in that fandom, also ask them as well. Like I get it. There are some people who cosplay who don't do the research because they think the character looks cool, but it
Mhm.
doesn't hurt to do a little research. Or in this case, a
Exactly.
lot of research.
Hmm. Well, and there. I feel like there are a lot of great characters out there. Because as both of you have said, a villain can be absolutely diabolical, but you love to hate them. Like, I think a good example is Homelander from The Boys. I
Yes.
hate that man. I hate that man more than Satan himself.
I was actually going to
And I
bring
think
that
he's a
up.
great villain.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. In some communities, especially after like Stormfront dropped, like it's a very obvious, like it's not a dog whistle anymore, guys. Like we know what
Yes,
Stormfront is. Um,
exactly.
but like it was a fun villain arc. And it felt good when she got yeeted off this mortal coil.
Hmm.
Because, not to get political, but
Mm.
hey,
No,
but
go
there
for it.
were there were a lot of cosplay communities who were like, hey guys, we are not going to accept posts about building this cosplay because it's not like there's a lot of baggage that goes with this. So
For
like
sure.
knowing the baggage of the characters that the characters come with is one thing as well. Because yeah, that would be one of like, no, we probably shouldn't be talking about how to build a character that is an awful human being.
Oh
Like,
yeah, no.
Hmm.
But yeah, Kat,
I
your opinion.
I I'm gonna be honest. I have kind of mixed feelings on this. And I don't think OP is in the wrong at all for being uncomfortable. Like I think that they are perfectly valid.
mhm.
However, I want to know more about the boyfriend's motivations for cosplaying the character. Is it one of those things where you're just like, yeah, he's a terrible guy, but goddamn, he's a fascinating character and I want to understand how he ticks. And I think he's a great villain. Like that I don't have a problem with. And like I have cosplayed villains before. A lot of people that I care about deeply have cosplayed villains before. And I have not always agreed the with the villains with their acts, with their motivations. But I personally would not go out of my way to harass somebody. Um do I think it's in poor taste for this person to cosplay the character if it makes their partner so uncomfortable? Yeah.
You
But
gotta take your
also I
take
want
your
to
partner
know.
into take your partner's feelings into consideration too.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
it also looks like this person bought the cosplay and they're absolutely entitled to feel however they want to feel about the character. I there's this meme that goes around where it's like, God, how does it go? It's like if you say hate speech, it's like that protects you from the government, bitch, not me. It's something like that. And that's kind of how it is. Like at the end of the day, you can cosplay whoever you want. But if you are posting that online, if you are bringing it into a public space, there understand that it might ruffle some feathers. And does that give
Mhm.
people the right to harass you? Of course not. But I feel like you also shouldn't go out of your way if you know a character is very controversial. I think it's best to really read the room.
Yep.
Um, and I don't know how active the dramatical murder fandom is nowadays, but I know that Mink has always been a point of contention. From everyone I know who was in the fandom. And I have friends who have cosplayed Mink. And they're not rapists, they're not bad people, but I want to understand the boyfriend's fascination with the character. Is it just like I just think he's a cool villain. I think this is interesting. I kind of want to like, yeah, he's done bad things, and yeah, I don't like how things ended up, but like, he's interesting, and I want to know how he ticks. But if he's like, yeah, everything Mink did is just fine, and he never did anything wrong, you guys, and like assaulting people is so great, and that's how every romance should be, like, that is a red flag. Nobody needs to leave that relationship. Um,
Oh boy.
so I don't have a problem with the boyfriend cosplaying the character. However, I want to know what his motivations are, and I really think that he needs to take his partner's comfort level into mind, especially when it is dealing with a topic this tricky, you know?
I agree. I
Big same. Yeah, that was actually what you said, Kat, was similar to what somebody said in the comments. Was they quoted the kind of who OP found out Mink was and said, I mean,
Yeah.
if this is the plot that your boyfriend finds anything but repulsive, you have a bigger problem than the costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
It's not a
that
costume
the
thing, it's a
OP is the
morality thing.
asshole. I'm sorry.
Mhm. At that point, it's no longer about the costume. It is bringing your partner's morals into question, and it's like, hey, like, do you
Yeah.
just like think this is an interesting character, or do you kind of fantasize about this? Like, I need to know before we continue this relationship.
Agreed.
Yeah. But yeah, definite not the asshole.
Yes.
OP is 100% allowed to be really uncomfortable by it. And
Mhm.
yeah, situational awareness. Know your fandom, know your community. Understand that you're going to be going into a space with a lot of people with a lot of other opinions.
Mm.
Know the
Mhm.
boyfriend shouldn't be harassed, but they need to have situational awareness.
Mm. Oh yeah, no, agreed.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. All right.
All right.
We have our verdict.
So yes, this is the last one of this part. Just so you
Yes.
know, gonna be reading this, we're gonna give our opinions, but after that, we're gonna be into this one, and then we'll be doing having episode two sometime later this month. So this is gonna be the last one, and with your permission, Kat, if I can read this one, because I actually
Yeah,
found
go
this
for
one
it.
interesting. All right, so
Yes, please do.
this was posted 2 years ago by yeah, I'm not gonna try to read that. I'll post it. I'll show the picture thing. Um so, am I the asshole for making money at a controversial convention? And
Ooh.
we're gonna find out why this con was controversial.
Let's get
So,
into it.
I'm
Oh,
an
there's a
artist.
lot of those.
I'm an artist, and I sometimes vend at anime cons. There are four notable cons in my area. One is extremely large and hard to get into as a vendor. I mean, most big cons are hard to get into as a vendor.
Absolutely.
And one is only a few years old and pretty tiny. I haven't done either of these to date, and you know, I'm trying for the small one next year. The other two are are decently sized, but are run by someone with a reputation and several allegations. Ooh.
So Ryan Kampf.
Oh, woo!
For the rec
I'm sorry. When you put that together, there are not, I shouldn't, how do I phrase this? If it is in the Midwest, if it is this level of controversial and there's allegations, it's very, very obvious that it's Ryan Kampf.
Most likely.
yeah.
There's so much on this guy. And I highly recommend anyone who doesn't know about Ryan Kampf or Kampf Cons to go and do the research, because that in itself is an entire other panel. And
Oh,
also, Ryan, if you're reading this, fuck you, and I hope you step on a Lego.
All right.
oh,
I
not the
mean,
Lego.
oh geez, no, Lego. For the record, I personally agree that this person is scumbag. If I ever get the to the point where I'm able to pick and choose where I vend, I'll gladly avoid any event this person runs. However, I'm still fairly new at this. So this must be somewhere local and they don't have a lot of money, probably don't have a car, so they're limited to where they can vend. So I get that to a
Mhm.
certain point,
For sure.
especially if you're in your early 20s and you have bills to pay.
Mhm.
Um, if I ever, yeah, however, I'm still fairly new at this, and those two cons are one, easily accessible to me, two, have been big profit shows despite the controversy surrounding them. Know that this is not my main source of income, but it's become
Okay.
one I definitely have some hardship without. I mean, I get it. You're an artist,
Hmm.
you're a vendor, your job's not paying you well, and you're making bank at a con. I get it. You know, you
Mhm.
got to do what you got to do to keep a roof over your head and food in your stomach and not end up out on the streets. I'm not able to do shows often, but I make a sizable chunk of money when I do. All right. However, attending
Okay.
these particular cons is cons rift with some of my friends. They say that I'm supporting a predator by attending at all. They say I'm putting making money over what's right, and that if I cared about victims, I wouldn't step foot in at these cons. And on some level, I agree with that. I'd rather not patronize these cons knowing what I know, but I need to
Mhm.
pay my bills. It'd be one thing if no one attended, and while there are boycotts, the fact of the matter is the majority of people don't seem to care. For better or worse, these allegations have been around for years at this point, and are well documented. Yet the attendance still rises every year. But I'm still conflicted because at the end of the day, they're right. I'm giving money to a alleged predator. So am I the asshole for essentially putting money over my morals? Oh,
Ooh,
I
it's a
mean,
There is
tough
no ethical
one
consumption under capitalism.
for sure.
Um, I
I,
totally
Yeah.
get where this person's coming from. Um, there are events that I skip out on
Hmm.
because I don't like the people who run it. I will tell people, hey, this is what's going on. If you decide to spend your money, that's on you.
Hmm.
But this person is struggling. They need the money
Yeah.
on top of their
and
day job. So
they can't afford to go to these other cons because let's face it, small cons are
oh,
easy to.
expensive.
I mean,
No matter no matter
not
how you slice it, it's gonna be
not
expensive.
not to mention the bigger the
Mhm.
con, the more the booth the table is going to cost because there are cons that charge like 200 to 300, for a table, and you
Hmm.
can't afford that. So, if you can go to one of these small cons where you're probably paying like $100 at most, maybe 200,
Hmm.
and you not only are you making up for the table spent, but you're making extra to help.
Mhm.
So I get it there
It's
because
tough.
there's a lot of controversial cons, and I get it.
Yes.
The reason, yeah, everyone knows, but people will still spend their money because either A, they don't know, or two, it's the closest. They'll just grit their teeth like, okay, I'll just go. But like personally, I wouldn't want to go to a con that's being read, even if they're allegations. It's like I just don't want to
Yeah.
be that person
Mhm.
who like goes, and then next thing I know, I get attacked. People find out I went, and I get flooded on Instagram saying, "How dare you go to this? You're better than that." And like,
Hmm.
and I don't know how big this vendor is. I don't know what, if they have an Instagram or whatever, so I don't know what their following is like. And I get it, but at the same time, like I don't think people understand like, yeah, your job helps, but you also need that extra money so you can eventually, because it sounds like they're making this money to go to be able to vend at other cons that are not this one.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Again, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism in this case.
and the comments
Which sucks
are
that we're
like in
even
the
in this
comments.
situation, but you know.
Let's see. Someone
Yes.
said, honestly, I don't think there's any way for us to make a reasonable judgment here even with a lot more information. It would depend on a combination of what this person did, how reasonably you might be able to argument your income from other streams, your ability to decrease your bills and subsist with oh yeah. Mostly though, capitalism makes assholes out of everyone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You like
Yeah.
you said it best.
That
This
that
For
one
was the
seems
sure.
a
first
little
thing I
tricky,
saw, and that
but
was the
I'm not gonna go
Yeah.
the asshole. Yeah, a lot of people saying they're not the asshole except for the guy. So yeah, no, I will
I
say I don't think you're the asshole. I do hope though that once you have a better income, you can go to cons that aren't run by a potential a potential alleged predator. I'm really hoping
yeah.
that they can. I'm really hoping
Mhm.
that they can get the income to not go to a con that's ran by someone that's had so much
yes.
negative things about them.
Yeah, I've had artist friends who have done shows at cons, and I'm like, "Ooh, are you sure about that?"
Yeah.
But like money is money. That's what our world runs on, unfortunately. Like that commenter said, capitalism makes assholes out of all of us.
Hmm.
I get the moral dilemma with that for 100%. Um, but again, like I'm sure it either comes down to, okay, like the show is coming up. Am I going to be able to afford rent this month? Or do I just bite the bullet and afford rent, or do I go homeless?
For sure.
So I get it. There's no ethical consumption under capitalism. I'm going to say it again and again and again.
Hmm.
I don't think OP is the asshole for that. If they were like, oh yeah, I know, I just don't care, then yeah,
Oh, then I would be saying
you're the
you are the
asshole. But
asshole. Your
like,
friend, you have
they're
your friends,
obviously they're
and your
obviously
friends
very
You're
have,
like, I
horny
and your
don't
about
care.
it.
friends,
Then yeah, you're the
and
asshole.
your friends have every right to patronize you about supporting a con ran by a predator. So,
Yes.
but,
Yeah,
but,
yeah, if they were like going for fun, if they were paying for a badge, at the
Well, yeah,
same
you're
time, yes, I
absolutely an
understand.
asshole then.
Yeah, but like this person is paying for a table, which also generates income for them.
hmm
So,
Hmm.
they're only getting a small percentage of whatever
Oh,
the OP. But again, I totally get it because there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, kids.
it's
Mhm.
really hard. I don't know. I'm really torn on this one. I don't think that OP is a bad person, but I don't think they're making a good decision
Yeah.
either. Because from what I'm reading, this is not what pays. This is not what's bringing home the big bucks, right? And they're just like, yeah, like I'd be struggling, but it doesn't sound like they would be going into poverty over this. However, I could just be looking at this very black and white, and if I am, just call me the fuck out.
No, I
Um,
mean, no, I get it. Like I,
As somebody
and
who has struggled and struggled and struggled before, I totally get where they're coming from. You got to do some stuff you really don't want to do when you're that poor.
mhm,
When you are struggling that hard, there's some stuff that you just got to bite the bullet and do.
mhm.
I've done some stuff that I'm like, I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, no, I get you.
It's fucking embarrassing for
Yeah,
some of the stuff I've had to do to make ends meet. But
it's hard. It's really hard.
it's hard. So I totally get where they're coming from of not wanting to support this person a hundred
Mhm.
percent, but also get that bread.
Yeah,
yeah, no.
I, I guess, I guess I want to know more. Like, okay, when they're saying they would be struggling without it, is it like, oh, I can't pay my bills, I can't keep the lights on, or is it, man, I can't buy extra takeout. Like, I need to kind of know where
You
this is
you need
at.
you need more
Yeah.
context. I
I
get it.
need more
So
context.
so in a way
Because
though,
I've definitely seen people say that, and I'm like, girl,
mm,
oh my God. Like I can't,
mm,
I keep that shit to myself,
I
but
can tell. I can tell this person
um,
definitely has to be like someone in their 20s or early 30s.
I would think so. And I absolutely agree. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism. But
Yeah.
also, I would say if there's other shows that they can apply for, and if there's other ways to make up that income, I honestly would just do that instead.
Hell, volunteer for a con too as a volunteer.
Yeah, the thing is, at the end of the day, they're doing this to make money.
I get it.
And I I support you, get that bread, do what you need to do. However, in this situation, it's really difficult. And I don't think we should harass people, who are vending at these cons. I guess I should put a little asterisk. If this is their main source of income, if this is what's going to help them keep the lights on. However, if they know and they don't care, yeah, no, don't spend your money at this con and that business. And it
100%.
from what I know about Ryan Conf cons and from what I have been told by my friends who are artists out in the Midwest, these conventions bank on people not caring and not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
And
why a
as
lot of
long as
these
that
that's
cycle continues, that con is going to get bigger, it is going
mm.
to make more money, and it is despicable. So I don't know. I don't think this person is a bad person because clearly, if they were a bad person, they wouldn't see a problem with this.
Yeah.
But also,
No,
I,
and
I
I
don't think they're making a good decision either. Like if
Mm-mm. And
you
they
you
even
have
they even
other
she
options, I think you should go for that.
they even admit they know what they're doing is wrong, but limited
Right.
yeah,
um
It's
and
hard.
especially in
It's
the
really hard. I
Midwest,
don't know where I
it's this
stand.
this
in
is
the
this is definitely a gray area, just like the first one we read.
Yeah, like
yeah,
I don't
in
think
the
anyone
Midwest,
should
I know that
harass this
there's like
person.
Yeah, no.
so small little pockets of communities too,
Hmm.
that getting anything like what we have out here,
Yes,
in like the Pacific Northwest or the West Coast or anything like that, like they don't have those same resources that we do, like on the
exactly.
coasts
It's
or
hard.
and like a lot of the larger populated areas. So they
Hmm.
only have like a certain number of conventions that they can go to, and it is expensive as all heck to travel out there
It's
still.
so
I
Um,
mean,
expensive. Oh my
we've talked
God.
about that in
and
a traveling.
it's yeah, it's
Yeah.
very difficult. So I applaud them for at least recognizing like, oh, this is really messed up and I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm doing the right thing. But
Sure.
I do understand needing to get that money, but yeah, at the same time, if you can get out of those circles, get out of them as quickly as possible.
Exactly.
All right. So we're at that hour mark now, roughly, that we need to end this. But before,
Yes.
I know, Kat, you have a email that people can send their own "Am I the Asshole" Reddit cosplay posts. Where can people find that?
Exactly. Alrighty. So, if you have your own personal stories that you would like to submit for us to be your judge, juries, and executioners, we can do that. Or if you find a post that you think is relevant and you want to send it our way, you can totally do that too. You can find us at AITAH Cosplay at gmail.com. Again, that's AITAH Cosplay at gmail.com. We're looking forward to it.
And last but not least, as always with these podcasts, time to drop them links, everyone. So starting with Minty, where can people find you on the social medias if they want to stay up to date with your cosplay and convention journey?
I am at Minty Poison Cosplay on Instagram and Facebook. As I said, I'm kind of taking a gap year, so if you want to hear me yell about books, I'm also on Minty's bookshelf on Instagram.
Ooh, I'll be sure to follow.
Yeah.
And Kat, the F-bomb queen, where can people find you on your social medias to stay up to date with you, your cosplays, and your fur babies?
I love my fur baby so much. Um, yeah, so you can find me at Cat Valentine Cosplay. Um, gosh, on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok. I think the only one that's different is Twitter. That's Cat Valentine Cause. But yeah, you can find me on those three platforms. I'm the most active on Instagram, but I kind of bop around. So, if you want to see some cosplay whips and some memes and occasionally pictures of my cats making weird faces, you should go follow me. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
You all know where you can find me,
Where
everywhere.
can we find you, Wayne?
Oh,
Are you
I
sure?
got a link tree for that. I don't want to. Come on, I don't want to say that. I also, new quick thing I'm going to be adding in. I do want to thank those who support this channel. Your likes, your views, your subscriptions always make the best. As I always say, the guests make the channel. I just record, edit, and post. But yes, I'm Wayne the Unknown. Until next time, thank you for listening, and as always, thank you for watching.